Hello and welcome to the GameDev Outpost. In this video, we're going to talk about Niagara and creating ambient effects. In this video, we'll be making snow. So to get this started, we're going to right-click in our content browser, and I'm going to go to Effects, and I'm going to create a Niagara emitter from an empty blank template. And we'll give it a good name, NE for good naming conventions, and then whatever you want to call it. And we'll open that up. So once we have our emitter open, we want to come to emitter update and we want to spawn something. So we're going to add a spawn rate, and let's give this a good value, something like 300. We'll save that so it can compile. And right now we're just spawning particles on top of each other. So in particle spawn, I want to give this a bigger location. So I'm going to base this on location, and we're going to use a box location. And so we can make this pretty big. We'll make this 1,000 by 1,000 by 1,000. And once we do that, we'll have a bunch of particles in our space here, but they are a little big. So let's come to initialize particle, and we're going to change the sprite size mode to be random uniform. And in here, we already get a randomization, but let's set the min to be something like 0.25. And then in the max, I'm actually going to randomize the max. So I'm going to search for random range float, and we'll set this to be anywhere between 1 and 7. This way, our maximum size will also be randomized. And we'll just take a look at that. And this is looking pretty good. Now, in particle update, I want these to fall. I want these to fall from the sky to come down. So in particle update, I'm going to add a gravity force. And once you add that, you're probably going to get this error. Gravity force is dependent on solve forces and velocity. So I'm going to click on fix issue, and gravity force should appear above solve forces and velocity. Now, by default, we do get this gravity in the Z, but I'm going to break this because in the Z, I want to randomize this. So in Z, I'm going to look for random, and we want random range float. And in the maximum, we're going to have a negative 980 for gravity, and then we'll leave the minimum at 0. This way, we'll get a lot of particles falling like normal with gravity, but we'll get some floaty ones as well. And now, let's go take a look at this. So in my content browser, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to create a Niagara system from this, and we'll just name it correctly so that it says NS for good naming conventions. And then we're just going to pull this out into the world so we can see what it looks like. And this isn't too bad. This is all right. Now if I wanted to give this a little more character, I could come back to my emitter, and in particle update, I'm going to add a curl noise force. And once again, this needs to be above solve forces and velocity. So we'll just pull that above. And in the noise strength, I'm actually going to crank this up quite a bit. So I'm going to set this to be something like 1,000. And then let's see what that's doing in the world. And we also need to save our Niagara system. And now we can go and take a look. And now we have snow falling, but we also have these wispy ones floating around. Now this may be a little too intense. We could probably dial this back a little bit, but this should help you get a pretty basic ambient snow. So now you can go and modify this in any way that you want. You could even change the material. And if you notice right now, it looks like some of these trails have like 3 particles on them. I think that's just my graphics card. So if you guys thought this video was useful and it helped, please let me know by commenting down below and liking the video. Thanks guys.